The thoroughbred horse, a breed synonymous with speed, elegance, and raw athleticism, stands as one of humanity's greatest achievements in selective breeding. Its history is not just a tale of equine evolution, but a bold reflection of human ambition, cultural shifts, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. From the rolling fields of 17th century England to the global stage of modern racing, the thoroughbred's journey is a thrilling epic marked by triumphs, controversies, and an enduring legacy. This exploration dives deep into the origins, development, global spread, and contemporary challenges of the thoroughbred, celebrating its indomitable spirit while confronting the complexities of its world. The thoroughbred's story begins in England during the late 17th century, a time when horse racing was transforming from a casual pastime into a national obsession. The English aristocracy, flush with wealth and a passion for competition, sought to create a horse that could outrun all others, a beast of speed, stamina, and grace. The thoroughbred was born from a deliberate fusion of native British mares and imported stallions from the Middle East, whose sleek builds and fiery spirits promised unparalleled potential. At the heart of the thoroughbred's origin are three legendary stallions imported from the deserts of Arabia, Turkey, and North Africa. These horses, known as the Byerley Turk, Darley Arabian, and Godolphin Arabian, laid the genetic foundation for the breed. Byerley Turk, circa 1680s. Likely a warhorse captured during the Battle of Buda in 1686, this stallion was brought to England by Captain Robert Byerley. His offspring, bred with sturdy English mares, contributed toughness and versatility to early thoroughbred lines. While his influence waned compared to his counterparts, his legacy endures in select pedigrees. Darley Arabian, circa 1700, purchased in Aleppo by Thomas Darley and shipped to England in 1704, this stallion became the most dominant of the trio. His great-great-grandson, Eclipse, born in 1764, was an undefeated racing legend whose progeny dominate over 95% of modern thoroughbreds' male lines. The Darley Arabian's blood flows like a river through the breed's history. Godolphin Arabian, circa 1724. A horse of humble beginnings, this stallion was originally a gift to the King of France before being acquired by the Earl of Godolphin. His fiery temperament and potent genetics produced champions like Matcham, cementing his role as a cornerstone of the breed. These stallions were crossed with native mares, often descended from Celtic ponies and hobby horses known for their hardiness but lacking in speed. The resulting offspring combined the best of both worlds, the exotic stallion's refinement and velocity with the mare's durability. This was no accident. It was a bold gamble by breeders who saw the future of racing in these hybrids. By the late 17th century, horse racing was gaining traction as a sport of kings and commoners alike. King Charles II, an avid horseman, established Newmarket as the epicenter of English racing, hosting matches that drew crowds and fueled rivalries. These early races, often grueling 4-mile heats, demanded horses with both speed and endurance, qualities the emerging thoroughbreds possessed in spades. Breeders like Sir John Fenwick and Lord Godolphin meticulously selected pairings to enhance these traits, laying the groundwork for a breed defined by performance. The 18th century was a turning point for the thoroughbred, as the breed transitioned from a promising experiment to a standardized icon of equine excellence. This era saw the establishment of key institutions, pedigrees, and races that would shape the thoroughbred's identity. In 1791, James Weatherby published the first volume of the General Stud Book, a meticulous record of thoroughbred pedigrees. This was a bold move to preserve the breed's purity, ensuring only horses with verified ancestry could claim the thoroughbred title. The stud book became the gold standard for breeders worldwide, a testament to the breed's growing prestige. It also highlighted the narrowing gene pool, as breeders favored descendants of the three foundational sires, particularly the Darley Arabians line. The 18th century produced horses that became legends in their own right, proving the thoroughbred's superiority on the track. Flying Childers, 1714, a son of the Darley Arabian, this horse was reputedly the fastest of his time, winning races with ease and setting the standard for speed. Eclipse, 1764, perhaps the most famous thoroughbred in history, Eclipse was undefeated in 18 races, often winning by staggering margins. His dominance on the track and in the breeding shed made him a genetic juggernaut, with his lineage shaping nearly every modern thoroughbred. These horses weren't just athletes, they were cultural phenomena, celebrated in paintings, poems, and tavern tales. Their success fueled a breeding frenzy, as landowners vied to produce the next champion. The late 18th century saw the creation of races that remain cornerstones of thoroughbred racing. The Epsom Derby, 1780, St. Leger Stakes, 1776, and Oaks Stakes, 1779, were established in England, testing horses over varying distances and conditions. These races, collectively known as the English Classics, became the ultimate proving ground for thoroughbreds, showcasing their versatility and cementing their status as the world's premier racehorse. The 19th century marked the thoroughbred's transformation from a British phenomenon to a global icon. As European settlers colonized new lands, they brought thoroughbreds with them, spreading the breed's influence across continents. In the United States, thoroughbred racing took root in the colonial era, but it flourished after the Revolutionary War. Horses like Diomed, winner of the first Epsom Derby, were imported to bolster American bloodlines. By the mid-19th century, Lexington, 1850, emerged as a prolific sire, producing 632 foals and shaping the American thoroughbred. The Kentucky Derby, 1875, held at Churchill Downs, became the pinnacle of American racing, drawing comparisons to its English counterparts. The thoroughbred's adaptability to America's diverse tracks, dirt, turf, and varying distances underscored its versatility. Australia embraced thoroughbred racing with fervour, with the first races held in Sydney in 1810. The Melbourne Cup, 1861, dubbed the race that stops a nation, became a cultural institution, showcasing thoroughbreds' ability to captivate audiences far from their English origins. In Europe, France established the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, 1920, while Ireland became a breeding powerhouse, producing champions like Arkle. The 19th century saw breeders refine their methods, using pedigree analysis to enhance desired traits. The thoroughbred's physique, lean, muscular, with long legs and a deep chest, became standardized, optimized for speed and stamina. However, this focus on performance began to narrow the gene pool, a trend that would later spark debate about genetic diversity. The 20th and 21st centuries propelled the thoroughbred into a global industry, blending sport, commerce, and spectacle. The breed's history in this period is a story of triumphs, challenges, and reinvention. The modern era produced thoroughbreds that transcended sport, becoming global icons. Man O' War, 1917, Often called the greatest American racehorse, he won 20 of 21 races, setting records that stood for decades. His rivalry with Sir Barton, the first Triple Crown winner, captivated audiences. Secretariat 1970. The 1973 Triple Crown winner, Secretariat's Belmont Stakes victory by 31 lengths remains one of the most jaw-dropping performances in sports history. His heart, later found to be abnormally large, symbolized his extraordinary power. Frankel, 2008. Undefeated in 14 races, this British superstar redefined modern racing excellence with a time-form rating of 147, the highest ever. These horses weren't just champions, they were economic engines, commanding millions in breeding fees and inspiring generations of fans. By the late 20th century, thoroughbred racing had become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Breeding operations in Kentucky, Ireland, and Australia produced thousands of foals annually, with top stallions like Sadler's Wells and Stormcat commanding stud fees in the hundreds of thousands. Yearling sales at auctions like Keeneland and Tattersall's saw horses fetch millions, driven by the promise of racing glory or breeding potential. The sport's globalization brought new powerhouses. Japan's racing industry, bolstered by horses like Deep Impact, rivaled Western dominance, while Dubai's Dubai World Cup 1996 offered purses that dwarfed traditional races. The thoroughbred became a symbol of wealth and ambition, with sheikhs, tycoons, and syndicates vying for the next superstar. Genetic research in the 21st century revealed the thoroughbred's narrow gene pool, with most horses tracing back to a handful of ancestors. Studies like those published in Nature, 2014, showed that inbreeding increased risks of health issues, such as respiratory problems and fragile bones. Breeders responded by introducing outcrosses, though the reliance on proven bloodlines remains strong. Advances in veterinary care, including stem cell therapy and improved imaging, have extended horses' careers but also raised ethical questions about pushing animals to their limits. While racing remains their primary domain, thoroughbreds have excelled in other disciplines. Their athleticism makes them ideal for show jumping, eventing, and dressage. Programs like the Retired Racehorse Project have promoted off-the-track thoroughbreds, OTTB, retraining them for second careers. Crossbreeding with thoroughbreds has also improved breeds like warm bloods and quarter horses, amplifying their influence across equestrian sports. The thoroughbred's history is not without shadows. The pursuit of speed and profit has sparked significant challenges, forcing the industry to confront its practices head-on. Thoroughbreds' intense training and racing schedules, often starting at age 2, lead to injuries like tendon strains, fractures, and laminitis. A 2019 study in Veterinary Record estimated that 1 in 22 thoroughbreds suffers a career-ending injury. The use of medications, such as corticosteroids, to mask pain has drawn scrutiny, as has the high rate of breakdowns in races. The 2008 death of 8 Bells in the Kentucky Derby, collapsing after finishing second, ignited public outrage and spurred reforms. Retired racehorses face uncertain futures, with some sent to slaughter if not rehomed. Organizations like the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, founded in 2012, have made strides in providing sanctuary and retraining. But the issue persists. The industry's willingness to address these concerns will define its future. Performance-enhancing drugs have plagued thoroughbred racing, undermining its integrity. High-profile cases, like the 2021 Medina Spirit disqualification from the Kentucky Derby due to a banned substance, exposed systemic issues. Regulatory bodies, such as the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, HISA in the US, have introduced stricter testing, but the battle against doping remains ongoing. The ethics of breeding for speed at the expense of durability have sparked debate. Critics argue that the emphasis on precocity, horses peaking at 2 or 3 years old, compromises long-term health. The narrow gene pool exacerbates these concerns, with inbreeding linked to conditions like exercise-induced pulmonary hemorrhage, EIPH. The industry's response, including genetic diversity initiatives and welfare reforms, reflects a growing awareness of these issues. The thoroughbred is more than a horse, it's a cultural juggernaut. Races like the Triple Crown, Kentucky Derby, Preakness Stakes, Belmont Stakes, Royal Ascot, and Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe are global events, blending sport, fashion, and tradition. They draw millions of viewers and generate billions in revenue, supporting jobs from trainers to farriers. The thoroughbred's image, sleek, powerful, charging down the stretch, has inspired art, literature, and film, from Seabiscuit to the Black Stallion. Economically, the thoroughbred industry is a titan. In 2024, the global horse racing market was valued at over $115 billion, with thoroughbreds at its core. Kentucky's breeding industry alone contributes $4 billion annually to the U.S. economy. Yet this wealth comes with responsibility to ensure the horses, the heart of the sport, are treated with the respect they deserve. As we stand in 2025, the thoroughbred faces a pivotal moment. Advances in technology, from AI-driven pedigree analysis to wearable sensors monitoring horse health, promise to enhance breeding and welfare. However, the industry must navigate public scrutiny, balancing tradition with reform. Initiatives like sustainable breeding practices and transparent welfare standards are steps toward a brighter future. The thoroughbred's history is a testament to human ingenuity and the unyielding spirit of an extraordinary animal. From the deserts of Arabia to the racetracks of Dubai, the thoroughbred has galloped through centuries, leaving hoofprints on history. Its story is far from over, and as long as there are fields to run and crowds to cheer, the thoroughbred will remain a symbol of speed, power, and unbridled ambition.